One of the biggest questions that you need to think about when you go trout fishing is whether you keep or release that trout and let it live another day. And a lot of people, when they get started, it's all about having the big old stringer, right? Stock full of fish. You hit your limit. That's the goal. You want to haul as many fish out there as often as possible to show off, how great of a fisherman you are. And right, I fall into that camp. But there's a couple different factors you need to think about. Whether you keep a fish or release it isn't necessarily wrong, but there's a few things you should know, right? So the first fact that I'm not sure a lot of people know is that if you're in Pennsylvania, this year they released 3.2 million fish into the water, and they sold about 450,000 trout stamps, and that comes to about 9 fish per person. So if everybody went fishing, and for the whole season they took home 9 fish, there wouldn't be a single fish left for anyone else. It'd be done. And that's kind of shocking. I thought there'd be a lot more fish. And once you put in that perspective, you kind of think about it more of a long-term perspective, right? If you take a couple fish out here and there, they kind of add up. Personally, this year I think I've taken out 20 trout and kept them. I've eaten about half of them. There's still some in my freezer. And that's usually what happens. A lot of people take the fish home, put them in the freezer. Maybe their family doesn't like them. Maybe they don't get to them. Maybe they throw them away. And it becomes waste. And that's really not the greatest thing that you want if you're trying to think long term. A lot of the greatest fish hatcheries out there and fishery experiences are because there are some strict regulations around how many fish you can keep, what fish you can keep, when you can keep them, and usually how you can not keep them. It's about getting out there and having the experience that you want to enjoy day after day. However, there's a few circumstances when you do want to keep the fish, and it makes a lot of sense. If you're going to a place where the water gets super warm at a certain point in the year, right, the stocking extreme where it gets up to 70, 80 degrees at times, those fish are going to die anyway, and they're going to become food for birds, food for whatever else. So if you don't eat them, something else will. Okay, fine. Take those fish, eat them, enjoy them. But then we're talking about wild fish, wild browns, wild brookies. Those are fish that have a really substantial impact on the environment around them. They're part of the ecosystem. They're providing an important part of the stream's wildlife ecosystem. And to break that and take all those fish home is going to create impacts that you're not going to be fully aware of. And it's going to make trout fishing just not as rewarding for yourself and for others in the future. So what you want to consider is, right, if you're going to take home trout, are these fish going to die anyway? If you happen to catch a fish, sometimes they get gut hooked intentionally or unintentionally. It happens, they get gill hooked, they start bleeding profusely. You got to take that fish home. If you put it back, it's going to go belly up, float down the creek and die. So you want to be able to take those fish home. But there's another point in time where you're fishing, the fish is perfectly fine, you have enough at home, and you want to enjoy the experience, put those fish back. If it's a place where there's actually naturally recurring food for those trout, they have the right temperature, it's the right amount of shade and cover, they got deep pools they can go into, consider letting that fish back. There's always places where you can go to get your fill, especially early on in the season. But as you get later on in the year, especially in the warm months, it's really not worth it. Unless that fish is going to die anyway, put the fish back, let it live another day. Another factor I want you to consider when determining whether to keep a fish or not is if it's a stocked fish, fresh from the hatchery, has been grown on pellets, or whether it's a wild fish. Wild fish sometimes take years to get up to even a 10-12 inch size. So taking that fish out of there is really going to affect how many other fish can grow in the future. If it's a hatchery fish, it may not have the ability or likeliness of being able to survive on its own, and it's going to starve. So there's ways to identify which type of fish is which. You can look that up online. Like for browns, usually have an additional fin on the back. Usually there's red coloring. More vibrant coloring is a sure sign of a wild fish. And if they're wild and they're free, let them go if you can. There's different ways to fill your belly. And if you've enjoyed the experience, and that's really what trout fishing comes down to for a lot of people. It's not just filling your bag, it's walking. It's experiencing the nature, the environment, the peace, the joy, the experience. Let someone else enjoy that same thing another day. Trout fishing can be both for a lot of people. You can keep fish, you can let them go. But the key is to be mindful and to recognize there's a point of doing harm versus good. You want to think about the fish, you want to think about other people, you want to think about the environment. The key is to be mindful. So whether you keep or release a fish comes down to your discretion, but like a lot of things, it's about doing the right thing.